So an era is coming to an end, and I'm actually really sad about it. I wasn't going to make a video on this, but sometimes it's almost cathartic in a way to make a video on something just to kind of express it and let it out. You know what I mean? And I feel kind of cheesy putting it that way, but if you've been around the channel for long enough, you know that I'm a massive Nintendo fan. I've told a lot of people that if there was only one platform I could play for the rest of my life, it would be a no-brainer for me. It would not even be hard to choose. It would be Nintendo. I do enjoy the other platforms a lot and what they have to offer and their exclusive games. I really do, and if you follow my other channel, you would know that. But that's how much I love Nintendo. I've never outgrown Nintendo. I've never got sick of Nintendo. I've never got bored of Nintendo. Even in some of the kind of, I guess, more the eras like the Wii U, right? For example, when there wasn't as many Nintendo fans in that era, right? It was kind of a smaller group of consumers throughout that period of time. I still remain a massive Nintendo fan, and I have since my childhood. It was the first console I ever played. My parents owned an NES back in the day, and then a Super NES as well. I was actually born in the 90s, so technically the Super NES actually came out right before I was born. But funny enough, the NES was the first console I played, and then the Super NES almost immediately after, because again, my parents owned both. And I remember playing, the original Mario Bros. And the original Zelda on the NES. I was so young, I could barely remember it. Like, the memory is there, but it's foggy. That's how young I was. I don't even know how old I would have been, 2, 3. As far back as your memory can really go, I don't know. Like I said, it's foggy because it was that early in my life. And then, kind of growing up on the Super Nintendo, I played that so much. And then, each console generation that came after, and Nintendo's just been one of those brands that I've just stuck with. I've just loved. It's just Nintendo means that much to me. And so what happened yesterday at the time of recording this, December 17th, 2021, Nintendo uploaded a video, which was the final episode of Nintendo Minute. Now, if you're following this channel, I'm assuming you're a Nintendo fan to some extent. Maybe you don't know of Nintendo Minute, but it was basically a weekly show. Sometimes they would take obviously breaks for Christmas and the holidays and all that. But most of the time it was weekly, uploaded on Fridays typically. Sometimes it would have a midweek Wednesday upload. And it was hosted by Kit and Krista. And they were always an absolute pleasure and an absolute joy to watch every single week after week. And they just brought so much, excitement and joy to the week, through their episodes. And they would do all kinds of different things. They would talk about Nintendo games and Nintendo product, and they would visit, obviously, Nintendo events. They would document them. They would talk to developers like Mr. Aonuma, for example, right? Exclusive interviews. And of course, this was all part of Nintendo's YouTube channel, right? It was right directly on Nintendo's YouTube channel. It wasn't a separate channel or anything like that. They'd play some of the new Nintendo games, upcoming games early, kind of, early previews, unbox new things early, like the Switch, for example, and, the 3DS and all this great stuff. And it was just absolutely so much fun. And every single time I would watch Nintendo Minute, it was the most, I don't even know how to really put it into words. If you know, but it was some of the most real and most down to earth and most, I guess, genuine content that's probably on YouTube, period. Honestly, it's kind of sad to say that kind of content is rare, because a lot of content is just, I don't know. It's hard to explain, right? But it's just their personalities, Kit and Krista, they shone through, you know what I mean? And you could see that they were genuine Nintendo fans, obviously, working for Nintendo themselves, which I would assume is also probably a pretty cool experience, and it just seemed very genuine. It just seemed really fun every single episode that they would upload. And when they randomly dropped this final episode, I don't even think they forewarned anybody. It was just kind of like, here's an episode and it's the final episode. And it was called the final episode. And it was basically, they had an intro, they had a montage in the middle. I'll link it down in the description below if you haven't seen it. A montage of all the years, and then an outro. And the montage was really something, man. It really made you remember so many memories, and honestly, how fast time has flown by. It has flown by so fast, and it was just so cool to kind of go back down memory lane and see all these moments, and throughout the years, the 3DS, the Wii U, the Nintendo Switch, everything in between, all that. And it's like it's tough. I'll be honest. I feel kind of corny like saying this out loud, but I honestly did shed some tears because Nintendo, like I said, Nintendo means so much to me, right? I've stuck with Nintendo throughout the years, even when, maybe Nintendo wasn't as popular, as other eras, like in the Wii U era, there wasn't as many consumers, not as many people, were part of the Wii U era. A lot of people didn't own a Wii U. But I was still a huge fan throughout that era. I loved all of the Nintendo games that would come out, year after year after year, for, ever since I was a kid, like I said, as young as my memory can go back, and it's just, it's tough because it's like, I've had TV shows end that I was really, into and really excited about that bummed me out, but this was something different, you know what I mean? Because like TV shows at the end of the day are usually scripted, they're fake, right? And obviously, with YouTube content, there's a structure to it, right? There's a plan, there's a theme to a video, but the point is it was more real, and it felt like as us, the audience, Nintendo fans, watching Nintendo fans. Yes, they were Nintendo employees, and I believe still are, as far as I'm aware, unless they make a future announcement that either or both of them are leaving. But as far as I know, they're still Nintendo employees. But they're Nintendo fans as well. And that's the thing I love about watching other Nintendo, Nintendo employees, first of all, because they are Nintendo fans as well. You watch Treehouse Live, for example, and it just seems like they all genuinely, enjoy Nintendo, right? Obviously, yes, it is their job, but it just seems genuine. You know what I mean? I don't know. And so that's the thing. It felt like, in their, again, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but in their words, part of the pleasure for them creating this content was to connect with Nintendo fans. And from the other side of things, where I'm sitting as an audience member, as a viewer, it felt like that. It did feel like, there was like this connection between Nintendo and the audience, between Kit and Krista and the viewers. It felt like Nintendo fans watching Nintendo fans, and they would have other Nintendo fans on some shows, other like Nintendo content creators, for example, and different people like that. And it's just so genuine and so cool. And the thing that really, really, it's really tough is that it's gonna be, each week is gonna feel like really, really empty without a new Nintendo Minute episode. And I know for people like that maybe weren't into the show, maybe they don't get it, and me kind of getting super what's the word I'm looking for? I guess emotional and oh gosh, what is the word? But the point is, me getting this way probably seems silly to someone who's not a fan of the show. And if you were a fan of the show, then you're probably most likely feeling similar, because I've seen a lot of the responses, a lot of the comments on Twitter and on the YouTube video, and a lot of people are feeling similar. They feel, they're grateful, super grateful, as I am, super grateful for all the amazing content that Kit and Krista and everybody involved put out, but at the same time, sad that it's ending. I think, I'll be honest, I think part of it that makes it even harder is the fact that they didn't really, I guess, give an explanation. Like, why is it ending? Are they moving on to other things? Are they planning a different kind of show? Is either Kit and Krista or both? Are they moving on from Nintendo entirely? Are they maybe moving on to a different kind of department, a different kind of job position within Nintendo? Was it just I mean, again, no, I don't know. You know, I have no idea. I feel like, you know, I hope there's answers at some point, because it's rough, man. It's rough, you know. I don't want to get super like you know, downer, but the show meant a lot. You know, as a Nintendo fan, Nintendo means a lot to me. That show meant a lot to me. You know, Kit and Krista every single week. They seem like such a genuine, cool people. I never met them myself, sadly, but you know, from what I've seen and from what other content creators who have met them have said, they're very down to earth, you know, cool people. I had a couple, you know, small interactions with them on Twitter, and they just seem very genuine. And I don't know, I can't wait to see what's next. I hope there's something next, you know, for them, for Nintendo, some kind of show. Is there another show? Are they going to be, like I said, are they going to be a part of it? Are they leaving Nintendo? Are they staying with Nintendo? Are they, you know, lots of answers, lots of questions that I hope, you know, some of them get answered at some point. But I'll leave it with this. I'm kind of dragging this on. Nintendo Minute has been such a joy, such a pleasure. It's brought so much happiness to me personally, and to obviously a lot of other people. And if for some reason Kit, Krista, or anyone at Nintendo is watching this, and even if they're not, I just want to say a massive thanks for all of this content that they put out. It's really hard to put in the words how much that content meant. Try not to tear up again here, man. Okay, I know. It's hard, man. But thank you. Yes, I'm sad. You know, for other people are probably sad, but we're grateful for all the content, and wish everybody who's involved, wish them the best with whatever endeavors come next. And hopefully, you know, again, hopefully we find out some additional things, you know, like I said, if Kit and Krista are even staying with Nintendo, if there's going to be any kind of other Nintendo shows, because that was something truly special and unique. And I will remember these videos, these moments for the rest of my life. They're some of my favorite memories. Yeah. I know. I'm a big baby. But hey, I love Nintendo. So thank you, Nintendo. Thank you, Kit and Krista. And that's all I can say. The best with whatever comes next, and just thank you. Nintendo Minute has been an absolute pleasure and a joy.